The Walking Dead Daryl Dixon just aired its first episode called Lame Perdue, Laam Perdue. I don't honestly have no idea how to pronounce that. And look, guys, you're going to have to excuse the really bad lighting and the bad echo. I am not in my apartment. I am just in a quiet room in my building. And I feel a little weird because anyone could walk in at any moment. It's a little odd for me, but I have nowhere to record. I'm moving into an apartment right now and it's been a little crazy, but I wanted to make sure I got this to you because I just finished watching the episode and you know what? I'm not going to lie. I actually really did enjoy the episode. It was the first episode in The Walking Dead's spin-offs that came out that didn't feel like any of the other spin-offs. Like, it didn't feel like The Walking Dead. This felt like its own show. And I know before the show came out, there was a lot of talks of people saying that this show was going to be kind of like a Last of Us copy or something like that. And look, there are absolutely similarities that I saw throughout this episode, but it didn't feel close enough at all where it was going to be a problem. And I'm glad that's the case. And even if it was the case that it was a copy, there was some really strong elements of this episode that I would have been okay with if they did like a one-for-one Last of Us copy, which they're not going to do, and that's not the direction they're going in with the show at all, it seems. But even if they did, that's okay. And the biggest reason for that is the characters in this show, even on the first episode, they were established really well. And I'm not going to lie, some of you know my skepticism. If you're new to the channel, hi, by the way, my name is Jerry. I talk about The Walking Dead all the time. If that sounds awesome to you, be sure to subscribe and yada yada. But if you are a channel member, you know that I was not excited for any of the spin-offs, but most specifically, I was not excited for this spin-off because I just didn't get it. It didn't look good. Nothing about it seemed compelling to me, and I personally have never been like a huge Daryl Dixon fan, so there's all of that, but honestly, all of those concerns subsided in this episode, and I'm not gonna lie, that's been kind of like the theme overall of everything that I have seen so far from it. It's been really compelling to actually sit back and watch a character that I just straight up didn't care for come to life in a new way. I just thought it was really awesome. I'm not going to lie. So that was one of the most interesting things about this episode, was seeing a character I didn't care for come to life in a new way. And obviously because of that, this is a different direction for the character. So seeing him in kind of a different environment, take on more lines to begin with, it's been really interesting, especially his interactions with Laurent, which, by the way, may be the first character in the Walking Dead universe that's a kid actor that actually seemed really interesting, and I didn't mind him. Like, the only other one that came kind of close was Herschel, or maybe Henry, but Henry was a little teen angst weird and all that stuff. So yeah, but regardless, the point I'm making is they kind of went in an interesting direction with Daryl that I liked, and it was a step away from what, we've gotten previously with Daryl in terms of everything else we've seen. So that was exciting. And also just seeing this dynamic with a kid, it's going to be cool. The nun storyline, while I thought it was a little goofy in the beginning, I'm glad they set it up to seem that way, because by the end of the episode, I was fully on board with the storyline. I thought it was fun. And overall, I just liked a lot of what we got. I loved the scenery in this episode. I loved that it felt weird, and you didn't know why Daryl was there in the beginning, which was cool. I thought that was nice to have that kind of change of pace, even though there were things with it that I didn't like. Like, in the beginning of the episode, we see Daryl tied to an upside-down boat, but like, why? Why would he be tied to a boat upside down? So that was my first thought going into the episode. I was like, okay, well, there's no way he did this to himself. Like, who would do that to themselves? Obviously, he must have ran into trouble, which we got that confirmation of later. Yeah, he ran into trouble, but like, I didn't like that they didn't explain that till the very end of the episode, and I do get it completely, that that's the way these shows work, like you have to build up some suspense in some way, shape, or form. That's just part of it. But like, it just felt a little cheesy. Like, if someone asked me how I ended up somewhere, I'm not gonna be like, a bunch of bad decisions. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I get it. It's good. It's good storytelling. I think it played out pretty well, if I'm being honest with you. But just overall, I mean, there wasn't many complaints I had with this episode. I liked it. From start to finish, I thought it was good. Was it like the best episode in The Walking Dead's universe? No, definitely not. But was it bad, or did I have any concerns, I guess is my point? No, not at all. I actually liked it a lot more than I thought I would, and I'm really excited for the next episode. As a matter of fact, that next episode looks really good. Like, it looked awesome. And it seems like we have Daryl maybe on the phone with like Carol or something. I have no idea. But I thought that was interesting that they put that in the teaser of that he was on the phone with someone maybe from the Commonwealth. I don't know. But that was cool. But overall, I did think all the characters that we got in this episode were great. Like, Laurent was very good, as I mentioned already. As a kid actor, I thought he did a really good job. I also thought that the lady's name, the mother's name, who was like, Daryl, you're the reason we got to bring this Messiah to another place, which, by the way, I gotta say, because I totally forgot about it up until now, the idea that they think this man is just Jesus is like, it's kind of funny, but I don't know. I'm sure we're going to get bumps in the road of that story along the way, so I'm okay with it, but I'm glad that Daryl's kind of taking on the audience a little bit and also being like, okay, yeah, that's weird, because it straight up is kind of weird, but whatever. I mean, I liked that lady, the mother, I forget her name. I also liked all the dynamics that we saw between all of the other people in this episode. For instance, I liked when Daryl ran into the woman and the old man in the beginning and Daryl is getting the apples. That interaction was great. That's a prime example of what I'm talking about, where like Daryl is out of his element. It's not the same exact Daryl that we've seen in all seasons of The Walking Dead and all of that. So I liked seeing that. And I also liked, again, as I mentioned, the interactions he had between Laurent. I just thought the camaraderie there off the bat was really good. You could tell they are really charismatic together, and it was great. But when Laurent said at the end that Daryl deserves a happy ending, I was like, did Laurent watch season 11 of The Walking Dead or something? Like, obviously, I think they're setting him up to be like a psychic or whatever. I don't know, but it was just kind of funny to me. Overall, though, what I really got to say, because I'm kind of on a time pinch here, so I'm trying to go a little quick. To get to the point, I liked this episode. I really did. All the characters were good. I don't have any problems with it. Like, in the beginning of Dead City, I had a couple issues with, like, the Marshal and things like that, and Ginny, but I don't have any of that here on the first episode. All of the characters that we were introduced to, I genuinely really liked. The setting was really good off the bat, so those are 2 wins. The storytelling was good. It was better than I thought it was going to be. That's a 3rd. And yeah, we have a lot to see. Like, we got to figure out how he got there more in depth. We got to figure out what's going on with these walker experiments and all of that stuff, and why there's acidic walkers or whatever they call them. I don't know. Like, there's a lot to figure out. But I wouldn't call any of what we saw bad. I wouldn't call any of it even a little, like, goofy. Of course, there was a couple goofy moments, like the guys killing the nuns with blunderbusses, like what? But overall, that being said, I did enjoy the episode, and I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. If you liked this episode, tell me about it. I want to hear it. If you hated this episode, let me know. I thought I was going to hate it. But again, like I've said in my other videos, I try to go into these episodes of new shows in the Walking Dead universe open-minded, even though I don't like the idea of these spin-offs. And, you know, going in open-minded has proved really well, at least for this episode, and definitely all of Dead City for me, because I loved Dead City, and I honestly really liked this episode. So, really excited to see what happens with the next 5. I hope we get Carol in these episodes. I know she'll probably be back in season 2, but really excited to see all of that. And with all of that out of the way, let's start a healthy conversation down there in the comments. If you liked it, be sure to give it a like rating and subscribe for more. And with all that out of the way, I will talk to you later. Peace out.